Imagine a conscious contact with God so strong that no matter what you are doing or not doing, that no matter what your kids are up to or not up to, and that whether you've got the person of your dreams or they're just not cooperating, that you are happy, content, and at peace. A space where everyone else's thoughts, attitudes, and actions are beautiful and exactly as they are supposed to be. Well, this is the space where I like to play. My name is Mischa Z, and this is today's Bitch Slap. Join me as I shed light on the thoughts, actions, and attitudes that are causing you pain, and we train our minds to go to the capital S inner self, the joy that is waiting for us, the God within. Okay, I am going to try to do a follow-up episode to the happiness and the moment episode. The last episode I published right before this one was we can have happiness in any moment. Happiness is a decision. And I wanted to do a follow-up email to that. It's very late at night, and I am super tired. I am just about to go on a camping trip, leaving tomorrow for 4 days, and worked hard to get 4 podcast episodes scheduled. So they're scheduled to be released while I'm gone. So I feel really good about that. But it's a lot of work scheduling 4 episodes in a day. Working them all up, editing them, and all of that. And then also I put together an email to be sent while I'm gone to my fledgling email list. I now have a fledgling email list to go along with my fledgling podcast. Perhaps you are on my fledgling email list as well as being a listener of the podcast. And the reason I'm recording this episode as well is I'm about to go on a camping trip, so I won't be recording an episode for most likely 4 days. My phone will probably run out of battery on the camping trip. And so I doubt if I will be recording anything. And then also I wanted to stretch myself with the idea of this episode. So here we go. Happiness in the moment, part 2. Happiness is a decision. So in the first happiness is a decision episode, I was talking about that this lady friend whose 2 children, I had said, hey, happiness is a decision. And she said, I disagree because one of my kids broke her hip. One of my kids broke her neck. And 2 daughters that have kids and things. So they're of age, they're 30s or 40s or 50s, perhaps even like somewhere in there, these daughters. So, it's this idea of we can be free of circumstances dictating our happiness. And part of that is, well, if the circumstance is extreme enough, then it will make us unhappy. And so I have kids. This lady has kids, and they both have been injured. And so she's upset and she is unhappy. And the way she described it was really interesting, or this is the way I heard it, right? So 2 things. First off, as a mother, so I'm a father, right? So as a mother, like moms are genetically designed to be concerned for their kids. I believe, right? As a mother, any mothers listening to this episode, of course you're going to be worried about your child no matter what their age. My mother, even when I was, in my 30s, and she passed away when I was young 40s, I think 40, I don't know how old I was, maybe 45 or something, or somewhere in there, but constantly, packing me a lunch for my airplane rides home, even in my 40s, giving me snack packs, whatever. And when I was young, it used to make me mad. In my late teens and early 20s, I'd be like, Mom, I'm a grown up. I learned to love it, of course. Mom being a mom. And of course, I miss that now. The bagel sandwiches for the plane ride home as you're walking out the door. Um, she lived in Berkeley and I live in Encinitas. But as a father, so I think this is one way to think about it. When your kids are old enough and you're like, well, my daughter injured herself, so I am unhappy. That's sort of a righteous agenda. It's almost like saying, look what my daughter has done to me to affect my happiness as a father or as a mother. Right. And that's such an interesting way to look at it, to be like, wait a minute, and then also at some point we've got to trust in God that our kids are going through what they need to go, they need to be. And so the bigger we can grow that, the more we're in acceptance of what our kids get to go through. And I would also say, as a mother, I'm assuming genetically, who you're by genetic disposition, you're have concern and love and worry, and you don't want to see your kids suffer, but can you find happiness in that mothering when your kids are injured or going through a hard time or something like that? And I think that's an awesome way to look at it. Same as a father. So instead of as a father, whatever father instincts I have, when my sons are sussing them out of me as 20-year-old boys, young men. Today they're 20 and 18. Can I find happiness in my genetic coding as a father versus upsetedness? Right? So if they're missing a college payment due to irresponsibility and that irritates me as a father, can I find joy and happiness in that? I know it sounds crazy, but I think that that's the way for me, that the more I can look at things like that, the freer I can be, because it is a decision. So I think perhaps if I have an opportunity to have a discussion with that lady who was like, no, I am not happy because my kids, her daughters, are injured. And I got the impression it was nothing that was life threatening or anything, but no buts. I'm hedging right there, um, to say, hey, like, okay, you're feeling your motherly concern. Can you embrace your genetic code and find happiness in that? In your mothering. Anyhow, there you go. Part 2. I'm trying to keep my episodes at 8 minutes. I noticed when I'm on Zoom, I tend to go a little bit longer because it's a lot harder to watch the clock versus when I'm on my iPhone. I can see the timer is much more prevalent, so you know exactly where you are time wise. But I'm really practicing on keeping my episodes at 8 minutes, mostly because it's easier to edit them, easier and quicker, versus when you start getting into 15 or 20-minute episode, man, that's a lot more work, twice as much work. Anyway, I'm done. Part 2, happiness in the moment. Can we find happiness as our genetic code as we're designed by the universe, can we find happiness and bliss in that versus being upset? Can we be happy in our upsetedness? How's that? That's a better way to put it. All right, love to all. I'm done. I am camping for 4 days. Peace out. But no peace out. There will be an episode every day. So it's kind of cool. There's no gap. All right, I'm done. Thank you for spending time with me today. As someone who is committed to growth and service to this world, I so appreciate your willingness to come with me, go within, and serve our world through change. If you found value in this podcast and you know someone who can use this message, share this episode with them. Share it so our mission can be achieved one episode at a time. And of course, subscribe so you can hear more. And lastly, for more resources on what has helped me on my journey and can help you on yours, go to belove.media/resources. That's BELOVE.media/resources. Thank you again for listening.